Did you know that Hollywood Studios was once an actual working production studio? Guests could watch animators bring Disney movies to life, drive through an active costume department, and tour production sets. But today, it's all about stepping into your favorite movies. Welcome to Pop Culture Passport, your ultimate guide to quirky and cool destinations across the US. I'm your host, Beth Scalacci, aka the Roman Yeti, here to help you dive into the world of theme parks, uncover film and TV locations, and explore quirky museums, roadside attractions, and legendary venues that capture the heart and soul of this unique country. So grab your pop culture passport and let's discover destinations that resonate with your interest, not just with what's trending on social media. Are you ready? Let's roam! Like Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios has had a wild evolution from its name to its rides. So today, let's examine how a behind the scenes theme park became an immersive movie experience. We're going to dig into how it went from behind the scenes to fully cinematic. So, to start, let's rewind to the 1980s. Disney was in expansion mode, and then CEO Michael Eisner had a vision. He wanted to bring a slice of Hollywood to Florida. He was inspired by the Backlot Tour at Universal Studios Hollywood. So Disney initially planned to create a small studio themed pavilion at Epcot, but as ideas tend to happen at Imagineering, well, it grew and grew until it just became a whole new park. And Disney was moving fast. Universal was building a studio park just down the road, so Disney rushed to beat them to the punch, and they did. Disney-MGM Studios opened on May 1st, 1989, a full year before Universal in Orlando. The concept was unique at the time. This was going to be part theme park and part real working studio. We weren't just going to ride rides, we were going to see how the magic of movies was made. Opening day included a handful of experiences, but I have to say they were fairly ambitious for the time. First, the Great Movie Ride, which we all love, was a slow moving guided tour through scenes from classic Hollywood films inside of just this full scale replica of the Chinese theater. And it was just a nod to Hollywood and a love letter to the golden age of film. And actually, here's a little fun fact that I learned. It was originally planned to be part of Epcot. Um, yeah, I'm not sure where, but very interesting. And then there was the original Backlot Studio Tour at Hollywood Studios, which was a nearly 2-hour adventure, and it put you right in the middle of a working backlot. Guests boarded trams and were taken through Residential Street, where they could see the actual house used for the Golden Girls. And then it was on to the costuming and props department. And yeah, they were real working spaces at the time in the park. And I still remember driving through like this building and looking through the glass and just seeing all these costumes and racks and seeing cast members at work, and like you had that just backstage pass to the music, to the magic, and it was just really cool. And then the grand finale of the tour was Catastrophe Canyon, and this was one of those staged disaster scenes with floods and explosions and fire. And it was just a really cool way for Disney to show off the practical effects that are used in filming. And there was also, on opening day, the magic of Disney animation, which gave guests a chance to watch Disney animators in action. And it wasn't just a demo, this was real. The Florida animation team worked on films like Mulan, Lilo and Stitch, and Brother Bear right there in that building. And it wasn't just animation. TV and film were actually being shot in the park as well. The all new Mickey Mouse Club, better known as MMC, was filmed there, and it launched the careers of Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera, and our own Ken, Ryan Gosling. Also filmed there was Thunder in Paradise, a short lived Hulk Hogan action series. It used the black backlot, and it even filmed at Epcot, apparently. Also, parts of Hercules, The Legendary Journey, and other productions took advantage of that Florida studio space. So it really was a working studio and theme park all in one, sort of like Universal Hollywood is. Um, but as we all know, that did not last. So by the mid 90s, Disney realized that guests were getting to the point that they were more interested in being in the movies than seeing how they were made. Not this fan, but a lot of fans. That change really started when Sunset Boulevard area of the park was opened in 1994. And this was the park's first expansion, and it brought with it the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, and after that, Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith. So, with those additions, the tone of the park sort of began to change. Instead of being educational or behind the scenes, these attractions were fully immersive movie and music experiences. You weren't any longer watching the story, you were now part of it. Meanwhile, the Backlot Tour was also shrinking. The Florida film boom was fading, and sound stages that once hosted TV shows were repurposed for things like temporary exhibits or character meet and greets. Residential Street was actually demolished in 2003 to make way for the Lights, Motors, Action, Extreme stunt show. This was that car stunt performance show that was actually imported from Disneyland Paris. The costume and production areas that used to drive through on the tour, they were closed or rerouted. And the tour was trimmed down to like 30 or 40 minute. And it just began to feel, it's just more like a ride, more like a memory than what it used to be. And then came the big blow. In 2004, Disney shut down the animation studio. That space had, as I said, allowed guests to watch actual animators work, but now it was just a walkthrough exhibit. By this point, the park's identity as a working studio was fading fast. So now we move into the 2000s, and Hollywood Studios, still technically Disney-MGM Studios until like 2008, kept shifting further away from its original purpose. By now, the big trend was IP, intellectual property. Guests wanted to ride something connected to Disney, Pixar, and Star Wars, those universes they loved. So the park started making room. In 2014, the Backlot Tour permanently closed, and it marked the end of one of the park's founding attractions. In 2015, the magic of Disney animation closed and was soon turned into the Star Wars launch bay. And then in 2016, Lights, Motors, Action performed its final stunt. Its massive stadium. That place was so big. It was demolished to clear space for what was coming next, which was Galaxy's Edge. And then the one that really hit the nostalgic guests the hardest was the Great Movie Ride closed in 2017. And for many people, this was the last connection to the park's original identity. In its place came Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Um, it's a fast, fun-paced, trackless ride, but it has nothing to do with classic Hollywood. And this is potentially a hot take. I do miss Great Movie Ride. It was really cool, but I enjoy Runaway Railway so much. It's fast, fun, just full of charm. It has Mickey and Minnie. I don't know. It's a huge shift. I know I miss a lot of studios, but I do enjoy Runaway Railway. So, like I said, potential hot take. I don't know. Now, by the mid 2010s, Hollywood Studios was no longer about how movies were made. It was all about stepping into them. And one of my favorite parts of the old park was Streets of America, which was a section originally that was part of the Backlot tours, but then it had been opened up to foot traffic. You could walk through it, take pictures. It had facades designed to look like New York and San Francisco. It still gave that, backlot feel that studios had had. Um, but during the holidays, it became something totally different. And from 1995 to 2015, the streets of America were lit up with the Osborne family spectacle of dancing lights. Now, it started with an Arkansas family with their over the top light display that got relocated to Florida. It was breathtaking. Every year people made a trip, um, but it had to be demolished to make way for Star Wars Galaxy Edge. And as beautiful as Batuu is, I enjoy it. I love it, but there's a lot of us fans who still miss the lights of the Osborne family lights during the holidays. If you want to learn more about those lights, I did an episode on it in November 2024. You can find that I go into sort of more detail about what that was and those transitions. So by 2016, Hollywood Studios had fully shifted away from its original studio concept. And now it was all about stepping into your favorite Disney worlds. Toy Story Land opened in 2018. That took over the former Backlot Tour space and it immersed guests into a backyard sized world of green army men and giant building blocks. Like you are shrunken down to a toy when you walk into that area. Star Wars Galaxy Edge opened in 2019, and this brought a original Star Wars planet to life just with gorgeous storytelling, and it's beautiful and you are fully immersed in the story when you're there. Um Frozen sing-alongs and Star Wars character experiences and other IP attractions replaced older shows and exhibits. And in 2008, like I said, the park officially dropped that MGM name and officially became Disney's Hollywood Studios. But by that point, I don't know why we kept studios. It didn't really mean anything anymore. The original tagline, "Ride the movies," I feel like has evolved into more like "live in the movie" or "live the movie." Um, we weren't watching someone else make the magic. You're now the main character in that magic. So it's really just sort of what you're about and what you enjoy more. Um and now as we look into the future, there's more changes coming. Muppet Vision 3D just closed recently to make room for a Monsters Inc. Monstropolis land, I believe. And the Muppets are heading to the other side of the park to evict Aerosmith from Rock and Roller Coaster. So there's just, again, more changes coming. It's been so interesting to watch these changes and think about how much the park has changed since it opened in 89, from that working production studio to a fully immersive park experience. And, you know, it's always been exciting, sometimes leaves us nostalgic. I think changes at Disney parks always leave us nostalgic for something. But there's no denying that the new attractions are spectacular. Galaxy's Edge is so ambitious. It's very pretty. When you come around the corner and see that Millennium Falcon, like it's if you're a Star Wars fan, it just hits you. But I do miss the old days. I miss the tram tour. I miss the behind the scenes charm. But what about you? Like, do you miss old Hollywood studios, or you're like, no, I want to be in the movies. I don't care how they're made. Um, you know, are you excited about Monstropolis? Like, leave me a note, hit me up on social media, or click that send a text in the show notes, and let me know what you miss and what you're looking forward to at that park. I wanted to let you know about a little programming change here with Pop Culture Passport. I'm going to be moving to a bi-weekly format instead of a weekly format. A lot went into this decision, but it mainly came down to I am just running out of time. I want to be able to do a little more research and a little more writing on these episodes to give you really good shows. And I'm working on some other projects, the quirkyandcool.com directory site, which I hope you're using and enjoying. Um, and maybe even a video project maybe coming. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So be sure that whatever app you're using, that you're following the show so you get a notification every other week when a new episode is released. You don't want to miss one. And I have some fun shows coming up soon. So stay tuned. And with that, we add another stamp to our pop culture passport. I hope that this episode inspires you to get out and explore all of this quirky and cool, even in your own backyard. Follow, download, and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. Tell a friend and leave a review if you like what we're doing. It really does help the show grow. You can also follow me on Instagram or Facebook. Just search for The Roaming Yeti. Keep roaming and finding your fun.